Hello and welcome to another episode of Attacking Third, a CBS Sports Soccer podcast. I'm Sandra, Herrera, lead NWSL writer, joined today as always by my colleague and co-host Lisa Roman, NWSL broadcaster and analyst. On today's episode, we have a special guest interview for our listeners today. But first, a quick reminder on Twitter to follow us on Twitter for all updates at Attacking Third. You can watch us as videos too at youtube.com/Attacking Third, and be sure to subscribe so that you never miss our exclusive interviews or whenever we go live. So today's guest is former midfielder for the Portland Thorns and now assistant coach for the reigning NWSL Champions Washington Spirit, Angela Salem. Angela, welcome back to the show, I should say.
Yes, thank you. I know. I loved my time with you guys last time, and I feel honored to have more time with you guys.
We were chatting a little bit with you off mic. We're saying, actually, this is not your first time on the show. Like, we chatted with you as the Thorns were starting their playoff run. And now we get to have you back onto the show in a little bit of a new role. So congratulations are in order. Congratulations on becoming the assistant coach of the Washington Spirit. Now that the news is out there, let's just sort of like maybe get some reaction. How are you feeling in the space here as a coach now?
Yeah, no, I think it's just been a lot to process. I'm really excited about the role. When I had retired, I had a few teams like reach out to me with some interest, and to be honest, I had said no during that time because I did not feel ready to jump back into the league, and I had just retired. So I was just trying to process that piece as well. But after some time, I felt like it was a really cool opportunity and something that I really wanted to pursue. So I feel really excited about it, and I'm looking forward to joining the team here soon.
Angela, I had the pleasure to speak with head coach Kris Ward of the Washington Spirit about you and having you being brought onto his coaching staff. He told me that he saw the announcement for retirement and waited only about 90 minutes and then had to get in touch with you. He was like, I knew I wanted to bring on someone in this capacity. So for you, you kind of just gave us a glimpse of that process. Kind of walk us through that process. And then why did you ultimately change your mind, especially if multiple people were reaching out, which they should? What a great candidate.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, I felt really flattered just to have teams reach out with interest and consider me in such a really cool role. Yeah, Kris did reach out to me pretty quickly. And I have some friends who know him personally. So I kind of had a heads up that he might be contacting me. So that was kind of nice just so that I could prepare myself, because it really wasn't something that crossed my mind at all once I announced my retirement. And yeah, just at that time, I just felt like part of retiring was getting a break from just traveling and having a chaotic schedule, and I wanted some normalcy. And so at that time I told him I wasn't really, ready to make that decision, but I think he gave me a few days and then reached back out again. and then I met with a few people in the organization just to hear what they had to say. And then kind of from there, that really just kind of inspired me to kind of look into it more deeply, and then ultimately chose to go there.
When we were talking a little bit off mic and you chatted a little bit about it now, about getting ready to head on over and link up with the team, when do you actually report for duty, right? For coaching duty for the Spirit and head on over to DC? They're going to be getting, in preparations for more Challenge Cup action. When are you going to be heading out there? Where can we see you on the sidelines?
Yeah. So I actually head out there this week for a few days, and so I'll see a game live, and then I head out there, I think officially the weekend of April 9th. I would have liked it, and I know they would have probably liked it to be a little bit sooner, but I'm actually, and I have a job currently, and so just trying to transition some clients that I work with properly and making sure everything goes smoothly here before I go there. So it looks like the date officially for the season will be April 9th.
So you mentioned that you didn't really know head coach Kris Ward that well, but you had friends that knew him and you had some conversations with him. What kind of have you learned about him as a coach as he's now NWSL fans and players are kind of starting to learn more about him as he's considered a little bit of a veteran in the coaching landscape for this season. So what have you learned about him as a coach?
Yeah. He definitely is a coach that's very like player focused, like relational, cares about the whole whole human being, not just someone who's like focused on soccer and results. And that's something that I felt like I really aligned with, like value wise, which I really enjoyed having that conversation with him because not only does he have goals, for his players to succeed, on the field, but he also wants to make sure taking the time to get to know his players off the field and making sure that he's providing whatever, support that the players need. And also acknowledges, this is a step up from him too. Like he's in a head coaching role and is excited for, a new opportunity. He has a crazy work ethic, like always clipping films, and I don't know if he sleeps very much. I'm not sure if many head coaches in the league do, to be honest, but yeah, he's just passionate and excited. And him and Lee are also like a really cool team because I got to see how they operated for a weekend also. So it's really exciting for me to be a part of that, to learn from that. And I know the players really enjoy, him and his approach as well.
Now that you've had chances to kind of speak with him about what he's expecting from you and you understand a little bit more of his coaching style, what kind of coach do you want to be? What kind of role are you going to have with the Spirit?
I think that will continue to develop while I'm there too, just to see like what I'm comfortable with and maybe what areas of strength that I have and how can my focus going is one, like how can I complement Lee and Kris because they've been there, they have the rapport established, they have their own foundation going. So how can I kind of just fill in the gaps and support them in whatever the way they want? And then in terms of working with the players, just kind of providing like a mentorship role or kind of a veteran role with different perspective and experience, and then kind of bringing in my own soccer knowledge just through, because I've coached, obviously not at this level, but do have a coaching background. So just seeing how my coaching style can fit with them and provide that support however they need. So really my main goal is just because I am going in Lays, like how can I kind of mesh well from the beginning and support players. I do want to connect with them individually just to see what they need and how can I help them achieve their goals. And go from there.
We chatted a little bit about this already, but you're going into this role as someone who has played against these players. Like it's something that's happening very, very quickly, right? Going from 2021 last year to now heading into 2022, but this time as a coach. And you've chatted a little bit about this, but mentioning working with players specifically, is there any area that you are looking forward to the most, like something that you're looking forward to, whether it's a learning experience on the coaching side or whether it's like just staying in the league in a different role? What are some of the areas that maybe you're looking forward to the most coming up?
Yeah, I think one of my like passions through coaching and then obviously with the counseling background is just like team culture and building a positive environment, kind of really honing into the team values and how players align with those. Because I think the culture, from my experience, has been, it pretty much translates to on the field. Sorry, there's people walking. So just the culture piece, hopefully providing like a positive and safe environment. Something else that I'm really looking forward to is just being able to connect with players individually, because I do know, especially as the season goes on, head coaches tend to focus on like the team and like it's more of the bigger picture, and sometimes individuals get lost in that. And I think I tend to pick up on that pretty quickly, especially as a player. That was, I think, one of my strengths, just being able to connect with teammates. But then just exciting, like to learn how, I haven't really played with many of these Spirit players, which is really exciting for me because I feel like I've played with a lot of different players. So just kind of learning how they like to be pushed, because everyone responds differently. So just learning like how I can approach them, how I can push them to achieve their goals. And just learn how to operate in a team environment from like a coaching standpoint.
It's a pretty cool dynamic to be able to playing against them and now working with them and helping develop them as players. And this is a huge part of your next career step and obviously what we are here to talk about. But I don't want to skim past the fact that you had an incredible career as a player and then retired. So can I ask how the decision to retire kind of came about and how you kind of chose to do it in the manner that you did and when you did?
Yeah. So I pretty much went into this last season like knowing I was going to retire, because I was going to retire last off season. Like I had a job and I was ready to kind of hang him up. But Mark and the Thorns organization had convinced me to come back for a year. And after thinking about it, I did think about how I didn't really have like a full season in Portland. It was like I was in and out with grad school, and then I tore my ACL and then COVID year. So I was like, all right, I'll give it like one full year to like give it my all. So, and then at the end of the season, I just felt really content with everything that had happened. I couldn't have asked for like a better way to end. I feel like, I mean, I would have loved to win a championship. That was something I never achieved, but individually and as a team, like what we accomplished was something that was truly awesome to be a part of. And I feel just like grateful to have that kind of peace. I don't regret retiring. I feel like it was the right decision. And yeah, so, and I just found out I have a tear in my foot from the season. So I'm like, even if I wanted to play, like, I don't know, I would have gotten into preseason, not have been able to play because I need to get a shot now. And if that doesn't work, I need to get some surgery. So there we go. I think 12 years took its toll.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. When you put it like that, I guess 12 years does take its toll. You know, something that we were doing in the preseason phase of the NWSL season is we were chatting with a lot of different players. We challenged ourselves with the concept of like, what if we did a team preview for every single club that's coming in? So we did like 12 team previews, but it was really cool because as preseason got announced, another really huge announcement came with the historic ratifying of the new CBA, right? And you mentioned it. You were playing for 12 years. A good chunk of those were in NWSL, right? So I thought it would be a good idea to maybe get your thoughts on this, because what we were doing within these previews is we had a player from every single one of these teams that we were talking to. And we got to talk to all different kinds of players to get their perspectives of this. So for someone like you, what was that like to sort of, witness that moment, sort of be on the end of seeing like, wow, this finally like came to life, even though you are someone who has been in the league for a long time as a player and probably have your own personal experiences, right, to sort of pinpoint, but then to sort of see this happen and say, I'm riding out, I'm sort of making an exit. What were some of your thought process behind that, and how do you feel about this new CBA that's finally in place?
Yeah. The CBA, just also like being a player rep last year and like witnessing all the hard work that everyone put in behind the scenes, and Megan Burke and all of the like staff and Tori and Emily and all of these people that really stepped up. I mean, it was truly just incredible from that standpoint to watch how players in the league really came together to try and help players and make a big difference. And then when it finally went through, because there was times when it was like, is this going to happen? All these people are putting in so much work, and this should be the minimum standards, especially after so long in this league. And then to see it actually happen, I like seriously wanted to cry, because it's like after a player that you've been in the league for so long and you've always wanted changes to happen, and then all of the that happened last year off the field, like with the coaches, and it was just horrible, and you felt like, where's this league going? And then to have that go through to create a vision for the next 5 years for players to feel more safe, to have better player standards, mental health, maternity leave. I mean, there's just so many awesome things that should have happened a while ago. And I'm just really happy that players now and moving forward are going to have that kind of safety and protection.
Yeah, I love that. That was something that we were chatting with so many players when we were doing all of our previews. So thank you for sharing a little bit of your perspectives on that for us. We also want to just thank you in general for joining us. I know it's been a very chaotic probably process, right? Going through the process of going from ending your career as a professional player, going through retirement, and then getting reached out to as a coach. And then all of this stuff happens very, very quickly. So we want to thank you for joining us and sharing some time with us and sharing a little bit of the process. We also want to thank our listeners. So thanks everybody for joining along. Follow us on Twitter at Attacking Third for more. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere you listen to your podcast shows. We're also available with video. Subscribe to us. Visit youtube.com/Attacking Third. And we'll be back with a Challenge Cup preview for you all. So stay tuned. For Sandra Herrera, Lisa Roman, and Angela Salem, this was Attacking Third.